Hello, soldiers and seekers. My name is TB's Guy, and welcome to Final Fantasy VII. This is a game that's very, very important to me. It's the game that introduced me to the concept of the JRPG, and it's the game that introduced me to the Final Fantasy series. And the way I became acquainted with this game was perhaps typical for like the late 1990s in that it was a friend who gave me a demo disc that he'd gotten from like a PlayStation magazine from like the local corner store that had a whole bunch of various demos for PlayStation 1 games, and they said, "Oh, this game is a Final Fantasy game." Like, oh, it's super cool. Like they've got, it's like they got swords, but it's like fantasy, but it's also they've got guns, and it's like sci-fi, and it's this cool mix. And I was intrigued by that because I'd never like this whole thing of mixing genres like that, like of having medieval weaponry, as in swords and stuff, alongside sci-fi futuristic tech and stuff like that, alongside telling like a semi-contemporary sci-fi story. That was something that at the time at least was very new to me, because that wasn't really something that was done so much in the games that I was playing at the time. And so he had played through the demo on that disc, which I think was like the first couple of hours of Final Fantasy VII, like over and over and over and over and over again. Like he had really just pounded through that goddamn thing. And I borrowed his PlayStation, and I borrowed the demo disc, and I started playing through this demo over and over and over again. It's the first bit of the game in the slums when you're hanging out with Aerith. I think you can play that bit. And I was completely hooked. And by the time I finally managed to get my hands on my own PS1 and my own copy of Final Fantasy VII, I played that game to absolute exhaustion. Now, I was too young to really understand the game back then, in the sense that, like, many of the themes, many of the ideas that the game traffics in and works with were just kind of over my head. Plus, my English back then wasn't quite as good as it is today. So a lot of because the translation is notoriously kind of shoddy on the original Final Fantasy VII, there's a lot of stuff in there kind of went over my head or didn't come across properly. And I don't think I really understood the story fully back then. I understand it a lot more fully now, but it's actually been a long, long time since I have fully played through all of Final Fantasy VII. Like I've picked it up many, many times over the years. Like I even even twice in my life I have ordered fresh new copies of the CDs, like of the original discs for Final Fantasy VII off online stores, because I couldn't find them anywhere else, and I wanted to play the game again after old discs got broken or scuffed or whatever. But finishing it is something I haven't done in a very long time. I've played the game a couple of times. Like I think I got all the way up to disc 3 or something, and then I just kind of burned out on it. There was something else got in the way. But the remake is coming out now, and there's a lot of discussion among like the circles of old people like me who remember the original. Oh, are they really going to retain all the charm and all the greatness of the original game? And like a lot of grumbling about that stuff. Where I'm cautiously optimistic, but with the remake coming out, with Final Fantasy VII kind of coming back as a game, I felt like now is the time to do a revisit and talk about what it is about this game that's been so important to me over the years, and talk a little bit about what the game meant to me back then and what it's come to mean for me now, because it's taken on more and more meaning over the years for me, especially as time has gone on and as I have been able to reflect on and digest the themes that are present in this wonderful little video game. And so we're going to be doing a lot of that. But before we get into it, and I realize this is a very long intro, and I don't blame you if you're getting bored, but before we get into it, I should stress that this is not strictly the original version of Final Fantasy VII we're playing. For one thing, we're on Steam. We're on the Steam version 1.09. For another, I have modded the game. Well, I haven't modded the game. I have downloaded a mod and applied it to the game, and it's a rather extensive one at that. It's called the Reunion mod, which is a very, very long community project. It's a mod pack, actually, a collection of a whole bunch of community-generated mods for the Final Fantasy VII Steam version that address a whole host of issues in the game. There's stability fixes and like bug fixes and stuff like that just make the game run a little bit better. There's some alterations to the way that menus work, to the way that icons are displayed, all kinds of little things. But it is also a much more substantial change. The game has been completely translated. Like I said, the original translation of Final Fantasy VII was notoriously poorly made. Like, Final Fantasy VII is a game, going into the production history a little bit, that was produced under a tremendous amount of pressure and stress at Square Enix. They were producing for the PS1 for the first time. They were producing a 3D game for the first time. Now, we talked a lot in Final Fantasy VI about the cinematic ambitions of the Final Fantasy team and how the SNES didn't quite let them realize it. Well, now they had the power to do what they had always wanted to do, but they didn't have the budget or the time to really do it well. And the result of that is that Final Fantasy VII has always been kind of a little bit broken, a little bit, like, the translation has always been shoddy. There's been stuff about the presentation and the character models and stuff like that that was sort of acceptable, but only barely, even in 1998, 97, 98, things that, like, have gotten overlooked and not fixed and stuff like that. The mod does a lot to address a lot of that. The translation, and I've played through, by the way, this version of the game a little bit. Like, I've gone through, like, the first 12 hours of it to check that the translation was actually good. And it is. It's much, much, much better. And it does a much better job of communicating the original intent of the people who wrote the damn game in the first place. While keeping the charm, like, a lot of the charm of the rather shoddy English translation of the old days. So I think that's an improvement. It also does some other things, but you will see as we actually get into the game. Now, I've turned the volume up a little bit. I'm going to turn it up a little bit for the intro cutscene, and then I'm going to pause the game and turn the volume back down for when the gameplay actually begins, because I want us to experience the glory of Final Fantasy VII's CGI animated intro together. Okay, then. Just excuse me while I turn the volume back down so that you can actually hear me. So, the keen-eyed among you, like those people who are most, like, clever and attuned to, like, all the specifics of Final Fantasy VII and maybe have played the game before, might have been able to spot the very subtle difference between this modded version of Final Fantasy VII and the 1997-87 original. Yeah, these character models look a little bit different. This is one of the parts of the mod that intrigued me a lot, because I happen to know that in the original Final Fantasy VII, this was what the overworld character models were actually supposed to look like. Like, they were supposed to look a lot better than they did. And I was sort of torn on whether to actually include those changes in this particular playthrough, because I kind of wanted to have like the full original experience, and yet on the other hand, this feels, at least to me, a lot closer to what the original intended experience was actually supposed to be. And I wanted the translation. Like, I really wanted the better translation, because, good lord, does it help a lot with a lot of scenes. So there's that. And I think most people who remember the original Final Fantasy VII will consider this somewhat of a visual improvement to the overworld characters. So let's get into it. There's also a bunch of other changes. For example, battle scenes now take place at 60 frames per second. You can't see that because the video you're going to be looking at is 30 frames per second, but this is 60 frames per second, which it isn't in the original Steam version. The original Steam version reduces Final Fantasy VII's battle scenes down to 15 frames per second because of weirdness with the coding and the programming. And that's something that actually has a tangible gameplay effect, because it becomes really difficult to control certain abilities, like Tifa's limit breaks, her slot machine thing that goes around and around, becomes really hard to control accurately when you only operate at 15 frames per second. So that's another thing that this mod does a lot to address, because on the original PS1, again, on the PS1, the battles ran at 60 frames per second, no problem. Wow, you're from Soldier, all right. It's hard to believe that one of theirs joined a group like Avalanche. Soldier? But they're the enemy. What's he doing with us? No, Jesse, he's not with them anymore. He quit Shinra. I didn't catch your name. We'll go with the originals. Back in the day, I used to name them after myself. which made for some weird cutscenes, I gotta tell ya. Okay, need to turn my phone off. Cloud. Cloud, eh? I don't care what your name is. Once this job's finished, I'm out of here. The hell you doing? I told ya, never move in a group. Our target's the Mako Reactor 1. We'll meet at the bridge in front. I need to... I really don't want to do, like, a terrible AAVE accent for Barrett, because that would be bad. So I need to figure out some voices for the main party members that work. Ex-soldier, huh? Don't trust ya. But yeah, another little thing that you might not have noticed there is that, or you might have noticed, is that Barrett gave me a tutorial message there telling me to press the X button to run faster. And that's another thing that the mod does. It replaces the old, because like on the Steam version, the prompts that the mod gives you for button presses are all terrible. Like, they're just awful. They're absolute garbage. And they've been fixed here. They've been replaced with the original PlayStation prompts. Which is a little awkward, because I'm playing this on an Xbox controller, but still, it's better. And you can also see that the in-game battle model in the battle scene is also improved and changed for all the main characters, which is also quite nice. But yeah, I contemplated trying to grab an emulator and play the completely original version of Final Fantasy VII PS1 style, but ultimately, I just wanted that translation. Yo, this your first time in Reactor? Of course not. I was with the Shinra company. Remember? Company. The planet's full of Mako energy. People use it every day. But I ain't got no clue what it is. How about you? Alright, I'll tell you. Mako's the lifeblood of our planet. But Shinra's using it all as weird crap around here to suck it dry. Oh, spare me the speeches. Let's just do this, okay? Right. You're with me from now on. Hello, Barret. Let's just get you to the back line where you belong. Not that it matters that much for the early parts of the game, but, you know. Vix and I were given a lock code. Just think how many sacrifice themselves for these codes. The awkwardness of controlling a 3D game. Well, technically a 3D game with a D-pad. Like, I can use the analog stick technically, but it doesn't really work because the game is designed to be played with a D-pad. Okay, push the button. So there's a little bit of animation awkwardness with the update with the new character models, in that the animations were designed to be played out by the old character model, like the really blocky, little doll-looking character models, which meant a lot of the animation was really, really exaggerated in order to work well with the way that those, like, puppet-like character models work. So there's times in the overworld where, like, characters will be doing those same animations, but with much more complex models, and it looks kind of weird and awkward. Should I give him, like, a vague southern accent? The reactors are slowly draining away the planet's life. No, I shouldn't. And one day, that'll be that. Sorry, but I'm not interested. Don't you get it, Cloud? The planet's gonna die. I just want to get this job done before the robo-guards arrive. You can see it there, for example, the way Barrett is holding his arm. It's a little awkward because it's made for a character model that looks very different. Still, this feels a lot closer to... I'll say this feels more like what Final Fantasy is in memory. Like, it feels like what you remember Final Fantasy VII being. And like Final Fantasy VI, this is not going to be like a completionist run. We're not going to do the 100% absolutely everything, master materia, yada yada yada. Because that would take 100 million hours, and I don't want to do chocobo breeding to get the Crusader materia either. Like, I'm tempted, because it's that fucking summon animation is just so hilariously overindulgent. But we're not going to do that. We're going to go through the story primarily. Why am I using magic? We're going to go through the story primarily, and then we'll do all the little extra bits. Like, I'm going to go to, what's it called? The city with the reactor in it, the dead reactor, on the south part of the map, for a couple of optional cutscenes. I'm gonna do the Fort Condor side quest, which is a thing that's gonna be coming up at a later point of the playthrough. And I'm gonna do stuff like that, like stuff that has some kind of story component. But we're not gonna do, like, completely outside of the box side quests. Alright, she just repeats the tutorial message. Which I don't care about. The music in this game is so S-tier as well. Like, that's something... goddammit, stop it, Cloud. That's something that, is kind of easy to forget, is that, Uematsu really stretched his ability to compose in so many different styles and genres for this game. And as you can see here, the spell names have been changed. In the original PlayStation game, the spell names were, like, you'd get Ice 1, or I think it was Lightning 1, or Thunder 1, and Fire 1, 2, and 3. Here they've been changed so that they're like the classic Final Fantasy naming scheme, which is Fire, Fira, Firaga, Thunder, Thundara, Thundaga, and so on and so forth. Which is also nice, because that feels more congruent with, like, what the Final Fantasy series is actually like. And I suspect one of the reasons why the spells were called Fire 1, 2, and 3 in the originals, because they didn't bother trying to translate the suffixes and affixes in the original. Now we'll just override that one. Thank you. When we blow this place, there ain't gonna be nothing left but a pile of rubble. Go on, set the bomb. Shouldn't you do this? I'll watch, just don't screw up. Whatever. Wake up! This is more than a reactor. I don't know what voice I should give that particular little interruption there, given who it is, but Is it? Huh? I said, what is it? Come on, hurry it up. Yeah, sorry. Heads up, this one's the real deal. And this is where the translation gets a little chance to shine, actually. Because in the original version of the game, there's a mechanic with this boss. It'll occasionally raise its tail up, and that's an indicator that it's readying a counterattack. If you hit it while the tail is up, you will get hit in the face with its laser. Now, the trouble is that in the original translation of the game, the Cloud, as in character, tells you, hey, watch out, you shouldn't attack it while the tail is up. But the way that he says it is a little bit garbled, so that, at least for me, when I was playing the game for the first time, and indeed even in years since, what it sounds like he's saying is you should attack while the tail is up. But what he's actually trying to say is that you shouldn't attack when the tail is up. And in the original, I think the line goes something like, Barret, look out, attack while the tail is up. It'll counterattack. It's going to counterattack with his laser, or it's going to attack with his laser, or something along these lines. Where it wasn't really clear that he's saying, don't attack while the tail is up. It sounded a lot like he was just saying, you should attack while the tail is up. Barret, watch out! If you attack when the tail is up, it'll counterattack with a laser, which is not at all what it said back in the day. I wonder how they're gonna implement that mechanic in the remake. Like, I wonder how they're gonna try and handle that. Oh, there we go. Because I've seen some footage of, like, the boss, this robot scorpion boss fight in the remake, where, of course, they pumped everything up to 11 and made it 10 million times more epic. The alarm. Come on, let's get the hell out of here. Barrett is in no hurry to leave. And neither are we, because the 10 minutes that they give you are, like, more than plenty, frankly. Ugh. Little trick you can do. When you get back attacked, technically, the next attack that hits you is supposed to do double damage, but if you just, like, press run, L and R, at the same time to run one time, your characters will turn around and they won't take double damage from the next attack. It's just a little programming oversight. Because it resets their position, I think, or something along those lines. And you may also notice in the battle scenes that a lot of enemies have been given HD texture updates. Not in the sense that they've been given, like, realistic HD textures, but the textures have just been cleaned up, and they look a lot nicer now. La da 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 da. I should probably put the battle speed down a little bit, actually. Again, no worries. There's plenty of time. It is possible to get a game over here, though. Like, that's a thing that can happen. By the way, something I always loved about Final Fantasy VII is that the timer, the clock there, is shaped in the shape of, it's not neon tubes, it's something else. It's a certain kind of, incandescent light bulb tube thing. But, like, I loved the really kind of lo-fi, grungy look of it. That was a lovely little world-building detail that even the countdown timer for an in-game event takes the shape of something that will be present in the world naturally. I always quite liked that. But yeah, this is a game that opens with you as the main characters committing an act of eco-terrorism against a major energy corporation whose energy extraction activities are threatening the health of the planet. Wow, I'm so glad that video games back in the day just didn't used to have any politics in them. Like, modern video games with all their... Oh god, they just can't shut up about doing politics about things, and I'm just so glad to finally be playing a game that's apolitical and just focuses on being a video game, instead of having all these political messages all over the place. A little bit of sarcasm from me there. Because anyone who says that video games have ever been apolitical has never actually paid attention to video games in their life. By the way, this shot right here, it's kind of hard to appreciate, but like just the idea of this, like using all the debris as a frame to create this little window in the middle of the screen through which you're looking at the characters, as though you're kind of trapped inside the rubble a little bit. It's just such a great way to set the mood of this tiny little scene that you're never going to come back to. Anyway.
Lets you keep the planet going, at least a little longer.
Yeah. Done. Now stand clear. And again, like we talked about in Final Fantasy VI, there's this cinematic ambition that's being fulfilled much more in this game than it was in Final Fantasy VI. Like, whether you can see they're trying really hard to have these smooth transitions from CGI cutscene to pre-rendered background, which you could kind of get away with back in the CRT days, like when televisions had scan lines and shit, that could kind of cover up some of the difference in clarity between the two. Nowadays, on like a modern HD monitor, it doesn't work so much. Alright, let's head back. Rendezvous at the Sector 8 station. Split up and board the train. Hey, wait! If it's about your money, leave it for the hideout. Look at this. Like, look at the scene. Look at the aesthetic that's being established here. Look at what the world looks like. And then listen to that music, Anxious Heart, by Nobuo Uematsu. And I especially want you to pay attention, like, you got the main violins. But listen to the lower, like the cellos in the lower half doing the counter melody, and, or rather, providing the bass line. And then we get this harp, I guess, staccato picking. And then the flute comes in. Like, oh, it's such a good piece of mood music. Anyway, here's a character who's definitely not important and who isn't going to come back later or matter in any way, shape, or form. And she needs a good voice. I guess I'll just go with a version of the official one. Excuse me. Something happened? Don't worry about it. Hey. Not every day you see flowers. Oh, these? You like them? They're only a gill each. Sure. Oh, thank you. Here you go. There's a obtaining the flower here is an optional thing. Depending on exactly what you say to her, you might not get the opportunity to buy the flower. And the flower can then be actually used in a scene a little bit later to do a thing. Where's the wall? Let's see. Don't be fooled by genre. Mako energy won't last forever. Mako is the life of the planet, and someday it'll come to an end. Saviors of the planet, Avalanche. Let's see, I think that lady has some dialogue as well. What the hell just happened? See, because all this debris, all of this destruction and stuff, that's something I didn't really get on my first playthrough, but this is the aftermath of the explosion. Like, this is... all this was because of what Avalanche did with their bomb. No! Okay, so I can fight them, or I can not fight them. And if you don't choose quickly enough, then you end up fighting them. We'll skip the rest of them, because there's no point fighting them. It doesn't change anything. With it. That's as far as you go. Sorry, but I don't have time to mess around with you guys. That's enough of your lips. Seize them. And then back to the the original character models show up in a couple of CG cutscenes, making this look a little bit awkward. Unfortunately, modders can't re-render the original CG cutscenes. That is a little bit beyond what is reasonably possible.
Looks like Cloud didn't make it.
You think they got him? Don't bet on it. That guy wouldn't let anything get in the way of his goddamn cash. Cloud. So you think he'll carry on fighting for us? Well, hell would I know. Do I look like a mind reader? It's because of you screw-ups I hired that jackass in the first place.
Oh yeah, Barrett, about her pay? Nothing.
Cloud. Cloud! Late for our appointment? You're damn right you're late. Come waltzing in here, making a big scene. Not really. Just what I always do. Ah, jerk. Getting everyone worried. Don't care about no one but yourself. Oh, you were worried about me? What? Huh, that's coming out of your share, hotshot. Yo, people, we're moving out. Follow me.
Hey, Cloud, thanks.
Cloud, let's keep this up for the next mission. By the way, when I was a kid, I used to think Biggs was a girl, because I couldn't tell, like, what the gender expression was on the little puppet character model. Careful, I'll shut this. Oh, Cloud, your face, it's pitch black. I also didn't pick up on the fact that Jessie has an enormous crush on Cloud. Just a massive crush. There you go. Hey, thanks for saving me back there at the reactor. And I don't think Cloud picks up on it either, by the way. At all.
This is the last train.
I should do this in like a...
This is the last train departing from Sector 8. Our last stop is Sector 7 train graveyard. Expected time of arrival is 8:23 midday time.
Why do trains always have awful speaker systems? Like, it's just awful. Terrible.
Oh, this is why I hate the last train. Oh boy. Oh, this is my home, so please make yourself feel comfortable.
See the headline in the Shinra Times? Apparently, the terrorists that bombed Reactor 1 are hiding out somewhere in the slums. Imagine bombing a reactor. They must have a real calculating leader. I wonder where they'll strike next.
Pay attention to Barrett's character model. He hears that, and he's pleased. Looks like the train still hasn't switched over to the emergency security system. It'll be a different story tomorrow.
I'm gonna be famous, thanks to Avalanche.
Nope. Please, you'll bother the other passengers. I'm fine. You're not a damn kid. Sit down. I do need to talk to Jesse, though. There.
Hey, Cloud. Want to look at this with me? It's the display of the Midgard train route. It'll be fun to watch together. I'll explain it to you. I'm into this kind of thing. Bombs, monitors, you know, high-tech stuff.
She's a nerd.
Okay, it's about to start. This is a wireframe model of the Mako city, Midgard.
And again, this shit, back in the 1990s, fucking impressive. Like, I looked at that stuff and it was like, wow, how do they do that with computers?
It's around 1 to 10,000 scale. The top plate is about 50 meters above ground. A huge pillar supports the plate in the center, and there are smaller ones for each sector. The smaller pillars are known as mechanical towers.
Again, the translation on this scene in the original was kinda not great.
We destroyed Reactor 1 on the northern edge. They're numbered in order, 2, 3, up to Reactor 8. The Mako reactors help provide electricity to Midgar. Each section had a name once, but no one in Midgar remembers them. Today we just use numbers. That's the kind of place this is. Next, we have this. Take a look. This is the route our train is on. The track spirals around the central pillar. Right now we're about halfway. Each transit point has an ID check area. It scans information from all the passengers and then cross-checks that data with the host computer at the Shinra building.
So this is a massive exposition dump, but it's setting up some stuff that becomes important later.
We definitely look suspicious, so we're using fake IDs.
It's setting up something that becomes important later, which again, as a kid, I didn't really pick up on.
Oh, speak of the devil. That light means we're passing through an ID check area. When the lights go off, you never know what kind of creeps come out. Well, enough about that. We're almost home now. What a relief.
Look, you can see the surface now, but our city has no day or night. If only that damn plate weren't there, we'd be looking at the sky.
A city that floats in the sky. Pretty unsettling scenery.
Never expected to hear that out of you. You're just full of surprises. The world above, city on a plate. It's because of that rotten pizza that the people below are suffering. And the world below is a cesspool of polluted air. On top of that, Mako reactors keep pumping out their energy. Thanks to them, the land's completely barren. And nothing's being done to clean the air anymore.
And why doesn't everyone just move up above?
I don't know, probably got no money, or maybe because they love their land, no matter how polluted it gets.
Yeah, I understand. No one lives in the slums because they enjoy it there. They're like this train. Can only run where the track's been laid.
That's, by the way, a really important concept. That I feel like the original translation doesn't bring across quite as efficiently. This train can only go where the track has been laid. That it's something that's going to come up a million years in the future in this playthrough, because this is a long-ass game. But this idea of the track only the train only goes where the track has been laid, and the question of, well, who's laying the track then, is really fucking central to Cloud's whole character arc and to his whole journey. Because he too is following a particular path that's been laid for him. And it only takes him one way. It only takes him to one place, and that place isn't great, as we shall see in about 30 or 40 hours. Hey, get over here, all of you. I need a better voice for Barrett. I'll figure it out as we go. That mission was a success, but don't get careless. The big one's still to come. No getting cold feet. Because the next one's really gonna wake him up. Meet back at the hideout. Move out! Right then.
When you've been a train attendant as long as I have, you've seen a lot of people and a lot of situations. People meeting, parting, joy, sadness. After a while, it doesn't even get to you anymore. I wonder how long it's been now. You end up laying an invisible rail between yourself and the passengers. It's so you don't get caught up in their lives. Me, I'm just a train attendant, plain and simple. It's easier this way. Still, there have been times when my heart came to a railroad crossing. Back during the war, I remember a lot of harrowing scenes. But that's a story for another day. First train departs at 5:04 Midgar time. I think that's what he repeats, yeah. That guy, I didn't even know you could talk to him back in the day. And I certainly didn't know that he would have multiple voice lines like that and tell you a little bit of a story about himself. Something else I quite like is that the game actually allows you to go to this area and get into fights with the things that are there. So if you really want to level grind, the option is actually there for you. Not that there's any point. Like, there's really very little point doing any kind of level grinding at this point in the game. But yeah, you can go up ladder, explore a little bit if you want to. There's nothing there, and we're gonna come back to this area later, but I just think it's neat that it's there, and that it's accessible early on. I'm not letting you go home tonight. Oh.
How about we take it easy somewhere?
Oh.
There's only the train graveyard around here, and they say it's haunted.
Damn.
What? And again, so much of that incidental dialogue, especially like the non-critical dialogue, was very badly translated in the original. Hey! What the hell are you doing? Butt out! Jeez! Oh, you came to see it too? I hear there was a terrorist attack above. It makes you think. If this tower ever came down, the slums would be dust. More foreshadowing. Nothing is worrying about it, is there? Check this out. It's awesome, no matter how many times you look up. This place is kind of special to me. It's my place. Come here whenever. Take care, bro. Thanks, bro. If you take too long wandering around, by the way, Barrett is gonna be like, yo, fucking get your ass over here, you idiot. Let's see, there's some Shinra gods down here. Oh, right, they have a What the hell are you looking at? Got any idea who I am? Up ahead is off limits. I have the miserable job of chasing off bums like you, so get lost!
Well, wow, you're great.
Damn straight, just get to the point.
But I'm sorry. No entry from here on. Was that okay, sir?
You gotta be more assertive.
But, Again, this is one of the things I love about this game, is that these two are just random guards that are there to block you from going to an area you're not supposed to go yet. And yet there's that little story there. Like, that little character dynamic between them of like, the older, more experienced guard who's like, fuck off, gonna kick her in the face. And the young guard who's like, oh, but please, I don't know. Which is such a little thing, but it's just nice. Like, it's nice to feel like the world is inhabited by characters who have lives outside of whatever nonsense you get into.
Ooh, boom! Avalanche is so cool!
Did you hear?
No, what?
A newsflash has just come in. There's been a terrorist attack up above. And guess what? It was at a Mako reactor. You know what this means?
Oh, what?
You see, I keep on top of things like this, and it stands to reason when the power's knocked out, computer, traffic lights, and so on are going to be knocked out as well. There must have been about, easily 1 billion gil worth of damage. And that ain't all. I'd reckon a lot of innocent bystanders lost their lives. If the explosion had been in the middle of the night, well, at least they would have gone in their sleep.
Oh, come on, what the hell's going on tonight? It's been weird ever since that long blackout earlier. Word is it was caused by some terrorist bombing up above. I was having a quiet beer and watching the news. Next thing I know, I'm getting thrown out. It really pisses me off.
I'm blessed. Can't get enough of those homemade cocktails. They sure do creep up on you.
Yeah, I don't think any of them have extra dialogue, and I don't think I can access the store. Nope. But I can access this guy, I think.
Hey you! Let's see you walk out of here without buying something. That'd be unfortunate if you catch my drift.
Oh, don't you worry, weapons store guy. I'll sell my ether. I'm gonna buy... There's kind of not really that much of a point buying iron bangles at this point. But I will buy some grenades.
Just who are you? Outsiders are allowed up here. Well, since today's special, I'm gonna let you in on something, but you gotta keep it to yourself.
You heard what happened? Everyone's in the balls about this terrorist group called the Avalanche who bombed Reactor 1. Apparently, Avalanche made a statement saying that they're opposed to Shinra, but rumor has it they're just out to kill as many people as they can. You see, it's like this. So long as they're up there causing trouble, weapon stores like us will make a fortune. I can't wait to get rid of this mountain of stock. I welcome the chaos with open arms.
Hello, capitalism. A lot of this dialogue is missable, as in you won't get to see it if you don't see it now, as it were. All right, go on.
Daddy!
Nope. Okay, I need a voice for Tifa. It needs to be different from Aerith's.
Well, little Marlene, aren't you gonna say hello to Cloud?
She should probably be more upbeat and a little bit more energetic.
Welcome back, Cloud. Looks like the mission went well. Did you argue with Barret?
Yeah.
I might have known. That's typical of Barret. And when you were little, you got into fights at the drop of a hat. I was kind of worried. Oh, flowers are so rare these days. They hardly ever grow in the slums. But if someone gave you a flower... Oh, I get it!
It's not what you think.
And see here, this is where the flower comes in. If you hadn't gotten the flower, this scene wouldn't happen. You can give it to Tifa, or you can give it to Marlene. And there's a system in this game, an affection system with the characters, that determines a couple of things that happen. But primarily, it determines who you get to go on a date with later on in the game. Now, if Aerith starts off with the most affection points, like she's the one who you're most likely to go on the date with, but you can also go on the date with Tifa, you can also go with Yuffie, who's a character we'll encounter much, much later, or you can go with Barrett, which is spectacularly awkward and very, very funny. And in order to do that, one of the things you have to do is give the flower to Marlene, because she is Barrett's daughter. We're not gonna do that.
Thanks, Cloud. It smells wonderful. Maybe I should fill the whole bar with flowers.
Oh, Cloud! Tifa really knows how to cook. Anyway, I want to tell you something.
What?
Tifa always let me taste her cooking. And look at me now, I'm Rollie Pollie. Don't know whether I should be happy or sad, but it's good food and drink that puts this place on the map.
I feel all excited. I wonder why.
I don't know, you just blew up a reactor and killed people? I don't know.
Nothing like that first drink after a job. How about you, Cloud? Care for a drink?
Sure, why not?
That's more like it. Even if you were with Soldier, you're still a rookie here. And rookies do what their superiors say.
Anyway.
Sorry, Cloud. Looks like Marlene is a little shy. Daddy, you're home! Hi, Barrett.
Yo. Guys, we're starting the meeting.
I love this melody. I love all the melodies in this game. I'm gonna gush about the music a lot. Let's see. Another optional scene. Take a seat. How about something to drink? Make it strong.
Just a second. It'll be ready in no time. You know, I'm relieved you made it back safely.
What's with you all of a sudden? That job was nothing.
I guess not. You weren't Soldier. Get your money from Barret, okay?
No worry. Once I've been paid, I'm gone.
Hey, Cloud. How do you feel?
Same as always, I guess. Why'd you ask?
It's nothing. You look a little tired, that's all.
That's not all. Ooh, I should make sure to exhaust your dialogue.
You better go below.
You think I'm a little uptight?
Not really.
Well, it's cool. Don't worry about it. I may be big, but I'm a coward at heart.
Wow, look at the news. What a blast. Should there have been so much damage, though? I followed all the instructions on here. Unless I made a mistake.
More foreshadowing.
Anyways, a good bomb. Did me proud.
See, I think you cannot talk to... Yeah.
Yo, Cloud, there's something I wanted to ask you. Was there anyone from Soldier fighting us today?
No, none. I'm positive.
Well, you're Mr. Confident.
If you guys had fought the Soldier, you wouldn't be alive right now.
Don't give me that crap just because you were one of them. Yeah, you're strong. Maybe all them guys in the Soldier are. But don't forget, your ass belongs to Avalanche now. Don't get no ideas about siding with Shinra.
Siding with Shinra. You asked me a question and I answered it, that's all. I'm going back up. I want to talk about my money. Wait, Cloud?
Tifa, let him go. Looks like he still misses Shinra.
Shut up. I don't give a damn about Shinra or Soldier. But don't get me wrong, I don't care about the planet or Avalanche either. Cloud, I'm asking you, please join us. Tifa, I'm sorry, bud. The planet's sick. Slowly but surely it's dying. Someone has to do something.
Barrett and his buddies are on the case, aren't they? It's got nothing to do with me.
So, you're really leaving? You're just gonna walk right out on your childhood friend?
I should apologize for that. But I'm sorry.
And you forgot the promise.
Promise?
So you did forget. Remember, Cloud? It was 7 years ago.
There's a huge exposition dump up front in Final Fantasy VII, just an absolutely enormous one. It's kind of okay, because it's a really, like, you kind of need to know all this stuff about how Shinra is set up and how Midgar works and stuff like that, and you need to know the backstory between Cloud and Tifa. It is not handled especially elegantly, I will say, like, in hindsight, but again, at the time, god damn, this was amazing and impressive to experience. Like, no other game had ever done anything like it.
Look, the Water Village Tower.
The Village Water Tower, rather.
Do you remember?
Yeah, back then.
I thought you'd never come, and it was getting a little cold.
Here you can see the awkwardness of the character model not being designed for its animations quite perfectly.
Sorry I kept you waiting. Well, you said you wanted to tell me something? Come this spring, I'm leaving the village for Midgar. All the boys are leaving, aren't they? I'm different from the rest. I'm not after any old job. I want to join Soldier. I'm gonna be the best, just like Sephiroth. Sephiroth? The great Sephiroth? Isn't it hard to join Soldier? I won't be able to come back to the village for a while. Will you make the headlines? I'll do my best. Hey, promise me something. If you become famous and I'm ever in trouble, you'll come save me, alright? What? If I'm ever in a bind, a hero will show up and rescue me. I'd like to experience that at least once. Wouldn't you?
What? You're so boneheaded, Cloud.
Come on, promise me. Alright, I promise.
And a wishing star passes overhead. Not subtle, but the kind of thing that you couldn't do on previous hardware. Like, literally couldn't do on previous hardware.
You remember now, don't you? Our promise.
I'm not a hero, and I'm not famous either. I can't keep the promise.
But you fulfilled your childhood dream. You joined Soldier. So come on, you have to keep your promise.
Hey, wait a minute, big-time soldier. A promise is a promise. Here, take it. Is this my pay? You can do better than that.
So you'll... Got the next job lined up? Doubled it. 3,000.
What did you just say?
It's okay, listen. We need all the help we can get, right?
The rest is for Marlene's schooling. 2,000.
Thanks, Cloud.
Dun, 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 dun. Such a lovely little melody. And here, Barrett's theme.
Good morning, Cloud. Sleep well?
And here again, you can choose an answer, and a lot of those little conversation choices and answers will make a difference in the affection levels and determine who you get to go on the date with. I'm gonna vaguely try and make it Tifa because I find her date scene is actually a little bit more interesting than the other ones, but we'll see. Next to you, who wouldn't?
I don't know what you mean.
Our target's Mako Reactor 5. Head for the station. I'll fill you in on the train. Cloud. Before the next mission, I got something I need to ask. See, the thing is, I don't really know how materia works. I'll give you the one we found, just teach me how to use it.
I don't want to go through the tutorial. Forget it.
Oh, so that's Soldier's big secret, huh? Never mind, I'll ask Jesse later, but you're still handling the materia.
I'm coming along with you this time. Oh yeah, Cloud? The guy on the second floor of the weapons store told me he has something for you. Don't forget. Marlene, the bar's in your hands. Yep, good luck. Take care.
Right. I bought one iron bangle just for completionism, but yeah, there's no point getting it on anyone else. Specifically because better bangles become available real soon.
Another slow day. If this keeps up, the store is going under. It's hopeless selling medicine in a slum like this.
Oh, would you look at that? You're telling me you're a customer? Great, welcome. We sell, we buy.
Right, okay. I need to think about materia for a second. I've got lightning and ice. I'm gonna grab fire. See, the thing about materia is, when you equip it, it lowers your stat gains as you level up, or rather, it alters the stat changes you get as you level up. So, if you equip a character with a lot of magic materia, they're gonna gain a lot less strength stat over the course of the game, which is a problem. Like, this is a bit of a bother, because it means that their basic attacks become kinda useless as the game goes on if you just leave materia on them all the time, which is what I used to do. I think I'm good for Phoenix Downs, but I want at least 4 antidotes and 11 potions. And I think 1 of each for now should be plenty. And that's something that I did not understand about the materia system at all when I was first exploring, but you can see here, equip effect. Strength -1, magic +1, max HP -2%, max MP +2%. And I believe that also affects stat growth. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I may be wrong about that. Either way, if you equip a whole bunch of magic on a character, they become less powerful in physical attack, but more powerful in magic. Let's do it like that. Yeah, that'll work. And that's something you need to be careful about. So, let's go see what the guy at the top of the weapon shop had for me.
Welcome to Beginner's Hall. You say you're a beginner, but your eyes say you're not.
Don't mess with me. I wasn't soldier. I'll tell you what I know, and for free.
And this is the tutorial hall, basically. Just absolute crap ton, million tons of tutorials, but also a new item, the all materia.
Well, you got one right off the bat. That was a material. Next, open this treasure chest. Now listen, hidden in treasure chests are a lot of handy items. They also come in bottles and bags, so make sure you don't overlook anything.
Right, and I don't think there's anything else here that I particularly care about. Nope, except the save point, because that was the first hour and a bit of Final Fantasy VII. And if you've enjoyed hanging out in the world of Terra, which I believe is what the world... Oh, Gaia, rather. Which I believe is what the world is called here, then you should feel eminently free to hit the like, comment, and subscribe buttons. And, yeah, you know, hit up my Patreon. Tip jars, I have things, merchandise, other stuff, plug, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be back with more Final Fantasy VII for you in the next video. Thanks for watching.